This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's almost out and fall's calling. Luckily, Nordstrom has everything you need for the season ahead, all under $100. Discover new arrivals from your favorite brands like Mango, Princess Polly, Wave, Free People, BDG, and more. Whether you're planning a last-minute getaway, heading back to class, or refreshing your office looks, you'll find the latest trends and beauty must-haves without breaking your budget. It's easy, too, with free shipping, free returns, and in-store order pickup. Shop today, in stores, and at Nordstrom.com.
No time, no problem. Bobbi Brown's Longwear Cream Shadow Stick works as fast as you do. So, no surprise, it's the #1 eyeshadow stick in the U.S. Whether you're heading to the office, school drop-off, or for days that blend into nights, one swipe, and your shadow is set for 24 hours. Because doing your makeup shouldn't take an hour, and let's be real, who has that kind of time? Now available in new shades. Discover them all at Sephora.
I'm 32, juggling family, working full-time, and earning a bachelor's degree. At University of Phoenix, I earn career-relevant skills with every 5-week course. Skills I can use now, not just after graduation.
Earn skills in weeks, not years. Visit phoenix.edu.
Let me ask you, what would you do for $2 million? Well, if your answer includes something along the lines of carjacking, property damage, vehicular carnage, bovine aviation, or desecration of the human anatomy, congratulations, you're perfect for the job. So saddle up for Silver City as we race to see if Rat Race is not that bad. Welcome one and all to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades in B movies, and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Hello to all of our listeners in Kelowna, BC, and around the world. How you guys doing? All right. Full confession time here. I love a good, silly movie. And if you get an ensemble cast in that movie as well, that's a bonus. Why? Because I'm of a certain vintage, and I grew up watching the Cannonball Run films. So, yeah, damn right. When the idea of Rat Race, which in itself is basically a remake of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, comes around, well, you know I'm going to be into this. But the critics weren't, so that's why we're here to defend this film. And here to join me for that defense of the, I'd say defensible, Lyle Robichaux's back on the show. Lyle, how you doing, man?
I am doing great, Jason, and it's nice to be on this show talking about a movie that deserves to be spared in every way, shape, and form.
That's the thing. Like, sometimes when you take a look at an ensemble cast and you realize that the critics didn't like it, that's the question, right? Is it basically not meeting up to the sum of expectations given by everybody in this cast? Like, it baffles me that this actually qualifies.
I was the one that kind of brought it up to you, and when you told me that it did, I was quite shocked because I was expecting it to be below our, common denominator, the average you have to be at to be considered for this illustrious program. I can't believe it's rated that low. I cannot believe we're sitting at around 40% on Rotten Tomatoes for this. And it's a movie I genuinely, every once in a while, go back to because it's so funny and has a lot of heart to it. Yeah. I don't understand the hate for this.
I mean, that's the thing. This movie is exactly what you think it should be. It understands the assignment. We're going to get ahead of ourselves a little bit, but that's because full confession, this is going to be a very, very biased episode because Lyle and I are right into this film. But before we basically shoot our load before everything here, let's get to business. But before we do, it is time to take this ensemble comedy and trailerize it.
It's 573 miles from Las Vegas to Silver City, New Mexico, and no bathroom breaks allowed in this bladder-busting comedy romp. A handful of hopeless, hard-up, haggard has-beens hope to find salvation at the end of a $2 million challenge. But first, they have to endure every comedy trope in the Zucker toolkit. It's all part of the great gambling mastermind of Donald P. Sinclair, a man who most definitely would be the kind of person who would have created Polymarket? Which competitor will reach the finish line first? How many communities will feel offended watching this 24 years later? And more importantly, is Pepto-Bismol actually good to bathe in? I'm asking. For a friend. Yeah, a friend. 57 Lucy's agree you're in for a good time. Place your bets. It's Rat Race. Rated PG. For Party for Gamblers.
You should have bought a squirrel.
Oh my God, there's so much in this film. But that's the thing. This movie is basically 2 hours of chock-a-block laughs back and forth. And yeah, it's directed by Jerry Zucker. We've talked about the Zucker-Abrams, Zucker mastery behind some of the biggest comedy films of our day. So maybe this is one of those things like you sit there and go, you expect this from Jerry Zucker. You expect this from this big ensemble cast. So even before we get into this, does this film live up to the expectations given by the names on the credit roll?
I think it absolutely does. And as I was watching it with more of an analytical mind to it this time, because I've seen it a bunch of times. We had this DVD in the trailer when I used to camp with my parents. We'd travel around with a travel trailer. And the only thing we were equipped with for entertainment, if it rained, was a TV with a built-in DVD player. This was one of the heavy rotation DVDs. For good reason. I think this is one of those movies that does, let's take a bunch of slapstick ideas, put them together for an hour and a half, and hopefully it works. It's a cartoon brought to life in many ways. It's hard to do it and make it an actual congruent story that makes sense and that keeps you hooked, because it can kind of get lost in this kind of stuff. This is one of the few examples of a movie that does all that cartoony fun. It's a bunch of crazy sitcom situations stitched together, but there's a heart in the middle of it too, and we'll get to that. And the heart keeps you kind of strung along for the whole time. I think it more than lives up to the sum of its parts. Yeah,
and it's very interesting because, I mean, I have seen on social media, you know, upon the week that we were recording this, there was this clip that came out from Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the South Park guys, basically doing a screenwriting seminar, if you will. And they were talking about their but therefore writing analogy, right? Some movies come out with, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, right? And they're like, yeah, but that gets boring after a while. But if you start going, this happens, but this happens, or this happens, therefore this happens, action's going to happen. So let me ask you this then. Is this an and then film, or is this a but therefore film?
That's a really good question. More genius from the creators of South Park, who I think are fantastic. I think it's a little bit of both, because you get a couple of situations that do come out of left field and are like, what? Like the first situation when they're driving a truck up a plane pole to disassemble the radar dish. That comes out of just complete. That's the first thing that happens once the plot kicks off.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also really good examples of this happens, therefore this happens. Like the entire saga with John Lovitz stealing Hitler's car. Like it's a mix of both, and they hit both well. They have just enough this happens, therefore this happens, that it makes the this happens and then this happens and then this happens more stomachable.
Yeah. I mean, you could also argue that this is also one of those meanwhile this happens, because you are following different groups.
You're jumping around a lot.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I think that plays into this style of movie's strengths, because then it's fun to see a completely different side of the coin, crazy thing happen with a different set of reactions to it. If this movie was all Rowan Atkinson's character, that's a bad example. Rowan Atkinson can make anything work. Strike that. If this was John Lovitz's character, it would get old after a while. But you get your little bit of John Lovitz, and then you're immediately switched over to Seth Green for a different kind of funny. And I think that works really well here.
All right, well, let's get into who is in this movie. The movie stars John Cleese, Breckin Meyer, Amy Smart, Cuba Gooding Jr., Seth Green, Vince Villoff, Whoopi Goldberg, Lanai Chapman, John Lovitz, Kathy Najimy, Rowan Atkinson, Dave Thomas, Wayne Knight, and Smash Mouth. However, of course, there is an almost starring in this. filming a scene, but it didn't make the final cut. Diamond Dallas Page and Kimberly Page. But yeah, that deleted scene ended up on the DVD. In the role of Zach, the organ transplant guy, played by Wayne Knight, originally it was supposed to be Jason Alexander, but things happen, Wayne Knight gets the gig. In the role of Blaine and Dwayne, as played by Vince Philliff and Seth Green, it was originally offered to Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes. This is the one that had me sitting here going, I wonder what that would have been like.
And did you hear the story of how that information came about?
I read about it, but fill in the audience.
So I am a big fan of Kevin Smith, and I listen to his podcast, Fat Man Beyond, quite religiously because he is a nerd sage, I guess is the best way to put it. He completely forgot that he was up for this role, and he found 20 years later the letter from the director and the team saying, hey, if you guys like this, jump on board. We'd love to have you. And they just passed on it because they were working on Jay and Silent Bob at the time, which released at the same time as this movie, in fact.
Yeah, in the same year, yeah.
In the same year. And he completely forgot that this happened until 20 years later. And then randomly on an episode of his podcast, he was like, you're never going to believe what I found amongst my stuff. And brought this movie back onto my radar to watch it again back then. It was a really cool little serendipitous moment. I was like, wow, I love that movie.
Also, under consideration for the role of Randy Pear, which was played by John Lovitz, under consideration was Bill Cosby. And I think they went with the right choice in this case.
Yep. They already got one very notable. Actually, it's a miracle because when you look at movies from this time point with an ensemble cast, you're kind of checking off boxes of who got canceled and who didn't. And there was only one really big cancellation on this list.
And the other thing, too, is that, as always with this show, we take a look at the movies and not the people necessarily. We're looking at the performances and not what they do outside. So it sucks. It sucks when you sit there and you appreciate someone's work and then it's like, oh. You have to have that moment of, that's funny, but I can't say it's funny. I mean, I think you can. I think you honestly can, because you're talking about a fictional character in a performance in a film, knowing that sometimes the people that we...
And I always look at it this came out 20 years ago in a completely different time, in a completely different space. If a movie came out now with this person, I would react differently. But I think if something's made that long ago, it gets a bit of a pass.
Yeah, absolutely. The film had a budget of $48 million. Domestically, made $56 million, and worldwide $85 million. When it debuted on the August 17th, 2001 weekend, and God, I feel old just saying that. Like 24 years ago. 24 years ago.
Listen, you said that like we're aging like wine. My vintage is getting up there too now, so.
Soon the back starts to ache, and the muscles are sore in the morning, and you realize...
What do you mean soon? What do you mean soon?
It debuted at number 3. It was the highest grossing debut with $11.6 million. Also debuting that weekend at number 6 was Captain Corelli's Mandolin, which debuted with $7 million, and American Outlaws, which debuted with $4.8 million. The number 1 film that week was the second week of American Pie 2 with $21.1 million. And at number 2 was the third week of Rush Hour 2 with $19 million. So you take a look at the top 3, and that weekend was just serving laughs aplenty at the theaters.
A lot of comedies. I was thinking that. A lot of comedies at the same time. Also, crazy. I've never seen an American Pie movie.
What?
I have never seen an American Pie movie. Completely has just blipped off. I just didn't get them on my radar, I guess, but I have not seen a single one.
Oh, dear God. Okay. Here we go. So we're going to have to go back, and we're going to have to see which American Pie films actually qualify, because there's a few of them, right? And then, of course, like American Pie kind of became kind of like the new National Lampoons.
Yeah.
But we're going to have to take a walk back. Plus, those soundtracks. They're a spin, shuffle, skip episodes.
I have heard the soundtracks. And come on, National Lampoons is I already know National Lampoons is better.
This episode is brought to you by Buffalo Trace Distillery. Powerful yet smooth. Contained but never tame. Proudly going their own way, but never going alone. This is the spirit inside Buffalo Trace Bourbon. Made at Buffalo Trace Distillery, the world's most award-winning distillery. Buffalo Trace is always perfectly untamed. Distilled, aged, and bottled by Buffalo Trace Distillery, Franklin County, Kentucky. 90 proof, 45% alcohol by volume. Learn more at buffalotracedistillery.com. Please drink responsibly.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Wayfair. Podcasts follow us everywhere. Whether you're cooking in the kitchen, chilling in the living room, or pretending to fold laundry in the bedroom. And with Wayfair, every one of those rooms can tell a story of its own. Their curated collections of furniture styles and prices make Wayfair the trusted destination to turn your home into your happy place. Shop everything home at wayfair.com with free and easy delivery straight to your door.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
There were some accolades for this film. At the 2002 Taurus Stunt Awards, the movie was nominated for Best Aerial Work for the helicopter chase scene, but lost to Behind Enemy Lines. And on the other side of things, at the 2001 Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, Whoopi Goldberg was nominated for Worst Supporting Actress for this and Monkey Bone, another film that we have already covered on this show, but lost to Tori Spelling for Scary Movie 2. And Cuba Gooding Jr. was nominated for Worst Supporting Actor, but lost to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in The Mummy Returns. But the reason why we are here, of course, are the critics, because they suck. Over at Rotten Tomatoes, this film has a tomatometer of 45% and a popcorn meter of 64%. At IMDb, it sits at 6.5 stars out of 10 for a 65% score. Over at Metacritic, it has a Metascore of 52. At Letterboxd, it sits at 3.1 stars out of 5 for a 62% score, and the Movie Database has a 63% score, giving this film an aggravated aggregate of a borderline fail 58.5%. But you see a fairly concentrated spread going from the lowest of the low, which is the 45% tomatometer, to the IMDb 65%. Is this film within that range, or is it better?
I think it's better, but I also think that in every critic website you look at for this movie, the audience score is much higher, at least 20% higher in most cases, than the critic score. So I like the fact that the people realize it's good. But I kind of get why critically this would miss with some people, because it is almost like an old school slapstick comedy movie. Like, it's a movie that would not be out of place in like the 70s with how it's kind of executed. But way better than the critics gave it credit for. 40%? No, much higher than that. To me, it's in the 70s somewhere.
But that's the thing. You have films like It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. You have films like the Cannonball Run films. Like, this is kind of a genre unto itself, and it kind of has those beats where you take big casts, split them up, give them something to do, and let them go, right? That's kind of, it works, but I think it's one of those things where you take a look back. By the way, both Cannonball Run films qualify as well.
I would love to watch, because I did not know this was based on Cannonball Run.
Well, it's actually a remake of It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. Cannonball Run kind of adapted what they did before that and then turned it into their own thing.
See, that's the thing. I didn't know there was other movies like this before me and you kind of talked about this episode. And you mentioned It's Mad, Mad, Mad World and Cannonball Run. So I love the concept. That's half the reason I love this movie so much. I think the concept is incredible.
Well, when you think about ensemble cast, and I'm just going to show my age here a little bit again, but bear with me here. Listen to this cast for the first Cannonball Run film, okay? Keeping in mind that this film came out in 1981. Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, Jackie Chan, Roger Moore, Farrah Fawcett, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Adrian Barbeau, Jamie Farr, Peter Fonda, Terry Bradshaw. Like, this film has, and I haven't even like scratched the surface on all of this. Like, there are so many big name actors in this film where it's like, yeah. And then Cannonball Run 2 got bigger.
It's always going to be a draw. even if the movie doesn't pan out to be like a huge success, you're going to put butts in seats just by making that poster out in the lobby have like 25 recognizable names.
Oh yeah, it's basically like the Avengers Endgame of comedy films.
That's awesome. I love that. That's actually it kind of was for this movie too. At the time, everybody in this household name.
Oh yeah, the comedy Avengers basically.
Yeah, I believe Whoopi Goldberg and Cuba Gooding Jr. won their Oscars the year this movie came out.
I don't know the exact year, but it's kind of funny. This is one of those films where I have to sit there and go, okay, so we just talked about this guy. We just talked about this guy. We just recently talked about Josie and the Pussycats on the show, which came out the same year as this, which also had Seth Green as well. So it's like, yeah, if it feels like we're kind of going through the filmography of people and just ticking movies off, we're not. This is just pure coincidence.
And it just goes to show, I think, that Seth Green is one of those people that makes movies based on stuff he thinks will be fun. Well, every time he's in a movie, I'm always like, he's having a good time. It seems like he genuinely enjoys his roles. And there's not very many that I look at and like he's phoning it in. He's doing it for the paycheck.
Well, it's also probably too a little bit of who he gets to work with as well. Like he doesn't have to sit there and beg for work. Like Seth Green would basically, write his own paycheck, and he does with Robot Chicken. But when you get to work with people that you're familiar with and you like, that kind of works in their favor.
Yeah. Also, just super talented, and I think he's one of the stronger characters in the movie.
Oh, we're going to get into this conversation right about now as we start our breakdown. Now, I mentioned there were a lot of people in this film. So, rather than go through actor by actor by actor by actor by actor, we mentioned that they kind of get broken off into groups. So, we're going to deal with this in groups. And we're going to start with Breckin Meyer and Amy Smart, who played Nick Schaefer and Tracy Fawcett, kind of the central storyline of this film. Your thoughts on these two?
See, I love Breckin Meyer. I like a lot of the things that he's in. I think he's underrated. I don't think he's brought up enough in the conversation about actors from kind of this time period. You could have made a movie about these two and left the others out, and I think you would have had something. They have good chemistry. Breckin Meyer's very much the straight man of the entire ordeal, if you think about it. Like, everybody kind of has this zany quality to them, even Amy Smart's character, except for Breckin Meyer. His is super straight-laced. He wants to be a lawyer. Went to Vegas for a bachelor party and didn't even gamble until he put the one coin in the machine just to say that he did and got it, which is great writing. I do think that's where the heart of this movie that I talked about earlier comes from, is from his character and their relationship. The helicopter chase is hilarious. There's some really good funny stuff thrown in there. Yeah, I definitely think they're super, super strong.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Breckin Meyer is absolutely underrated. And yeah, he feels like the big star of this film, without a doubt. I mean, you think about it too, the year before Road Trip came out. Of course, he was the star of that one as well.
Yeah.
Even though Tom Green kind of stole the show a little bit, but yeah, Breckin Meyer, the central point there. Can we talk about Amy Smart for a second?
Yes.
Like, I like her, and I think she's good in this, except for the helicopter scene.
What?
Don't get me wrong. I love the helicopter scene. I think it's hilarious. I think the way they played it out, that's fantastic. It's almost like she just goes a little, to quote this is Spinal Tap, she turns it to 11.
Yeah, she does overact a little bit, especially when she's screaming at the guy. When she catches her boyfriend cheating in the pool as she's hovering over the house. Which, first of all, if you're a pilot, write in. Do you visit your friends in the helicopter? Like, is that just something people do? I'm just going to drop in and see what's going on, like, and just land it on this in the driveway. Like,
you know what? I think I would. I think I would just kind of do a quick little flyby. Like, if I was a helicopter pilot and I flew by the house and, waved down to my wife, that would be something I would do. Yeah.
You definitely get cool points, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, there I could see the overacting a little bit there, but I think the zaniness of the situation outweighed it for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's you want to find that fine line between, do you go full crazy with that one? And I think she kind of did go full crazy on that. The rest of the movie, she's perfect. She's absolutely perfect. It's just that one scene where it feels where it's like, all right, you're gonna go get real loud and go. Think about the angriest you've ever been. Go. And my God, if that anger comes from a real place, Amy Smart, who hurt you?
Yeah, scary stuff.
Right? But there's the interesting thing, too. At no point did Nick ever sit there and go, that's a whole lot of crazy. Maybe I shouldn't get in the truck with her.
Yeah, it is true that after that, he's just like, okay, back to this romantic subplot, even though she did just try to commit murder via helicopter.
Yeah. Now, on the point of Nick, I need to bring something up here, and it's bugged me since I did the rewatch. Because, yeah, I'm like you. I'll sit there and watch a film, and then it's like, okay, well, now we're going to cover it for the show. And then you start watching much more critically. And you try to find why the critics would poo-poo the film. And I found something. And
what did you find about Nick?
It's been bugging me ever since. Okay? So, and by the way, spoilers like a mofo, because this is where it's about to get spoiled here. So, obviously, all these people are being, they're given a race, right? By Donald P. Sinclair, is played by John Cleese. They have to get to Silver City. Everyone has a key to a locker box. It's got $2 million in duffel bag. They have to be the first person to put that key in and get the duffel bag. Fine, cool. And meanwhile, while they're doing this race, they're being bet on by all these like clearly high-end millionaires and more money than brains kind of people. Cool. I'm down with this as well. This was a fun little side thing. It's a nice little diversion from the people running to Silver City. But then you get to the end of the film. And everyone's on stage with Smash Mouth. It's all good. Yeah, we're going to give our $2 million to charity. Yeah. I did say spoilers, right? But then Nick points out that there's Donald P. Sinclair, side stage. And he says that they were being bet on. How does he know this? At no point does Nick have a moment where he discovers that they're just being pawns in a big rich person gambling scheme.
Oh my God, you're right. I've most definitely seen this movie at the very least 10 times. And I have never connected that dot. But you're 1,000% right. They never tell them that they're being bet on.
Yeah.
He suspects the billionaire the entire time. When they're sitting in the coffee shop, him and Amy Smart, and they decide to team up, he even says there's some ulterior motive. He seems on the straight and narrow, but there has to be something he's getting out of this kind of thing. And that's kind of a focal point of why he's like, I don't trust this, but he's never given that confirmation. You're so right.
Yeah. I mean, and I'd have to go back and take a look at all the deleted scenes from the movie, but there's at no point should Nick have any inclination, because yeah, Cousins is there and there's all these people behind him, but Nick doesn't know who these people are. It's not like he can recognize them for like, oh, you work at this company. No, Nick has no clue.
Yeah, because some of them aren't even they're just millionaires. They're not bigwig. Like Donald Sinclair's a bigwig, but everybody there is just like a high-end gambler.
Yeah. It's
because if they were, there's that point when Donald Gleason's giving the pitch to them, this is my casino, this is where you people belong. So he's selling something to these people. These guys are far beneath his. Oh my God, now I'm gonna have to watch it again. You realize that, to try to figure out if there's or did you already microanalyze specifically that? Because that's something I would do. I would watch the whole movie again and just be like, is there anything that tells me he knows this?
There's this meme out there, and it's a person standing in a room with their hand up on the window, looking out into the middle third, and you can tell it's raining outside because there's rain on the window. And the meme says, "I wish I could watch movies like a normal person."
Yeah.
And this show for 4 years has made me wish I could watch movies like a normal person, because then the minute you realize it, you sit there and go, huh, how did he know?
That's crazy. I can't believe I never, because that's something I should have picked up on. I'm almost mad at myself.
For 24 years, I never questioned this. Then we start talking about the film. It's like, oh.
Yeah, none of them are ever let in on that. At the end, all of the billionaires show up with John Cleese to see what's going to happen with the money, especially when, again, spoilers, the assistant tries to steal it and run away with the call girl. Oh my God, that's insane. This is racking my brain right now because that's a plot hole. You found a plot hole.
Yeah. I mean, I have no problem suspending disbelief of these people making it from Las Vegas to Silver City, New Mexico, which, and yeah, I Googled it, 8.5 hour drive. If you're lucky, I'm fine with speed running this because at least when we get to the Smash Mouth concert, it's at night.
Yeah.
I can suspend my disbelief in this. I can let that go. Can't let this one go.
No, because especially it's a throwaway line. They don't do anything with that information. Because the whole point of him calling out John Cleese is just to basically say he's going to double the money. He's going to give another $2 million. Like he's basically just trying to mess with him a little bit. So it's not like that's an integral part of the plot when all the other characters are then like, what do you mean they were betting on us? He just kind of throws that in.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, they were betting on us, but he's going to double the money, blah, 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 blah.
And no one else reacts like this is some revelation. So that implies that at some point they all figured it out.
Maybe there's something that was left on the cutting room floor. There feels like there was something there. Like that. Maybe there's something that was just cut out, a throwaway bit where he lets it slip. They're getting bet on. And which that's actually one of my biggest notes on this movie. It brings out my inner degeneracy a little bit because let me tell you something. If you told me, yeah, I got a room, I got a bar, and I've got 10 people racing 8 hours, winner gets 2 million, and they're just a bunch of random crazy people. Do you want to bet on this? My friend, I wouldn't go to the bathroom. I would sit right there and watch that screen until I starved to death. I would be so in to bet on something like this. This is a genius idea. You kind of have something like this now with Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with his work, but he does this kind of thing. Like takes two people, put them in a room that don't know each other. You have to stay here 100 and something days. And if you do, you split 2.5 mil.
Yeah.
He does that kind of thing in real life, but not on this kind of grandiose scale. I think this is an incredible idea. I want the Amazing Race, but I don't want it scripted. I don't want a TV network behind it. Let the people do whatever they want, just like they do in the movie. Like cheat, lie, borrow, do whatever you got to do to get there kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. Cuba Gooding Jr., who plays Owen, your thoughts on him?
I'm going to take one stab. I gave myself one joke at the guy's expense because we don't want to beat a dead horse with him. But Cuba Gooding Jr. is first seen being a dick at a bar as people recognize him as the asshole from TV. Art imitates life.
I don't want to sit here and, we can wax philosophic. Yep, we can wax philosophic about the rise and very rapid fall of Cuba Gooding Jr. But we're talking about this one particular performance. Your thoughts?
I liked him. I liked his character. I liked the idea that he's a football referee that flubbed a massive call. He couldn't figure out the coin toss. So now that severely hinders him in the race because so many people care so much about that they're willing to drop him off in the desert of Nevada and make him walk to civilization. I think that's incredible.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
I get, and you do see this a lot now where it's like, especially because sports gambling is very legal. It's one of those things where you could see people getting mad at every single call. I mean, and we've watched weekend football where it's like, oh dear God, if only they actually called that proper touchdown. Like,
yeah. And there's a lot of money. It's becoming almost a weirdly big part of sports now is sports betting. Like there's players who are getting heckled on the court because you cost me my parlay, and like they're mentioning it in press conferences. It's getting a little out of hand.
Yeah, it's a little insane. But the other thing too is you have Polymarket, which does exist, right? You can basically bet on freaking anything.
Anything. You can bet on anything. There's people that were betting on Game of Thrones and it was on TV.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy what you could put money down on. And as long as you are of legal age and crazy like me, I am fully go ahead and do it. But I do think it's kind of over advertised now.
So I want to point something out here because I am that geek. So it was the Cowboys that got screwed by the coin flip.
Yes.
This film is not accurate because the 2000 Dallas Cowboys went 5-11. The coin flip is not the problem with the 2000 Dallas Cowboys.
The coin flip is not the problem with the 2025 Dallas Cowboys.
Well, but I mean, here's the thing. I do like the fact that apparently Owen is based on a real life referee.
He is, yes. Apparently, there was a referee that actually messed up a coin flip so badly that he became infamous for it, which is, I don't know how that happens, but I guess it did.
Which, for the record, that coin flip was actually shot at a Calgary Stampeders home game.
Yeah, CFL. I think they were playing Edmonton or something like that, I read.
So more people probably showed up than an actual Dallas Cowboys game.
Probably better football game, too.
Most definitely. But getting back to where the script just doesn't make sense sometimes. And for the record, I love the scene with the Lucys. That whole scene is fantastic.
The Lucys were one of the best ideas for a situation that they got into. A bus full of I Love Lucy impersonators on their way to an I Love Lucy convention. That's very original. And all of the girls that played the I Love Lucy cosplayers were hilarious. Every one of them they did the I Love Lucy tropes, but each one of them did it in like a little bit of a different way. It could have been easy for that to have been annoying, but they made it really funny.
Yeah. But the thing is, to get to that point, you've got Owen coming in from the desert and goes into the bathroom where the bus driver is taking a leak kind of thing. And then somehow comes up with this story about like someone's giving birth and give me your clothes. No one is giving a half naked, clearly came in from the desert dude who was a little manic looking at the time, his uniform at all.
And also, I always, when I first watched the movie, expected the bus driver to circle back around. You're telling me that guy didn't call the police? A man just hijacked a bus with 50 middle-aged women on it, and nobody called anybody? There was never any repercussions for that?
Yeah. I mean, had he like knocked the bus driver out, fine. I'm fine with that. I'll knock someone out for a chance of $2 million. I'm okay with that. That part, I mean...
I think of all of the characters, the only time where Cuba Gooding Jr.'s one really was shining was when he was driving the bus of the impersonators. And that was more because of the impersonators.
Yeah.
That was more because of the I Love Lucy girls. He was basically just angry man driving a bus as it breaks down around him.
Although I do love Paul Rodriguez when the taxi driver finally realizes who it is, like, okay, now we're good.
Drives him out in the middle of the day. I think that because I could see that happening, Jason. I could see someone being mad enough about sports to do that to somebody.
There's a prop bet you're regretting right now, and you're like, I'm going to find that guy.
Yep, 100%.
Seth Green and Vince Villeneuve, who played Dwayne and Blaine Cody. Your thoughts on these guys?
They were the Scooby-Doo villains of the movie, basically. They were like the Cruella de Vil's two henchmen, rub their hands together, evil laugh. They were putting money for the homeless into the slot machines where they won their special coin to participate in this whole thing. I don't understand the choice for the tongue piercing screwing up his speech for the entire movie. What was that about? Why give one of your actors a severe handicap for no real crazy payoff? Never, except for when they're driving and that the chick with piercings comes up and they end up together because they were showing each other the piercings. Was the entire hour and a half movie of him trying to mumble and sound like you could still kind of understand him? Was that all for that? I don't understand. That one choice baffles me.
But I mean, that's also the same kind of thing, the shtick where you get where, Garth gets the secretary in Wayne's World 2.
True.
But yeah, like, I know I've said on the show that I'm not the biggest Adam Sandler fan. And this was getting like Sandler level annoying.
It was. And like I said, if there was a payoff, it would make sense. If there was something that happens, if at some point in the movie the tongue piercing gets stuck on something and they're taken out of the race because of it or something, whatever. But yeah, the actor kind of was hindered by it too, because the performance kind of falls flat because why? Like, why was this a specific integral part of the character, I guess?
I mean, and this is the duo that it was supposed to be, basically Jay and Silent Bob. You're basically looking at putting Jay and Silent Bob into this film. You could have just taken Jay and Silent Bob, put it in, and it would have worked with the dynamic.
Do you think maybe it was originally for them and that's why they gave the Silent Bob character the tongue piercing? Maybe he wasn't supposed to speak much or something. Because it just feels like they did it now because funny voice is funny. Like
but it's not.
it's not. It's really not. There's a couple of times when they're celebrating something or he gets excited, and it is like when they're on the hot air balloon bit where he's on the hood of the car and he's like screaming for it was kind of funny there. But for the most part, like I said, it just makes me question why did they do this? Like of all things to give like make him like blind or something or give him some kind of hindrance, like give him somebody not a leg up, I guess. If you're going to give somebody a physical trait, why make it they can't speak correctly?
Yeah. I mean, it feels like the kind of pairing you would have given to like David Spade and Chris Farley.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I don't think it would have hit there either.
No.
Seth Green, however, really good as kind of like the brains of the operation. Really good. Your typical, like I said, kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon villain is what he reminded me of. He's the last one to give up money at the end. He was still hugging it. And the brother had to give him the whole "what would mom say" speech. And then he finally gave it up.
I mean, if you're going to use a Scooby-Doo analogy, you could sit there and take a look at these two like Shaggy and Scooby, right? Because, you know, if you're putting Seth Green in like the Shaggy kind of role, like the one with kind of a plan, and then you've got Vince Vaughn character is, you know, basically the unintelligible, right, Raggy?
Yeah, kind of agent of chaos a little bit.
Yeah. And if that's the idea for Blaine and Dwayne, then maybe. But holy crap, does it get annoying after a while?
It does. It really does. Thankfully, they're the ones that are, I would say, in it the least, I think. They're the ones that are purely kind of just a slapstick comedy. There's not a lot of heart to that story. There's not a big character arc until the very end when they do decide to give the money up.
Yeah.
So for what they were good, but definitely kind of with Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character as the, you know, the one that could use some notes for sure.
Yeah. But to that token as well, Seth Green played it perfectly at the end when he didn't want to give it the guy. And this is the character to do that with.
Yeah. There was like, this is my money. Like he was saying at the end, he had it like holding on to it like it was like for dear life. And yeah, that for his character, it makes sense. Like one of my favorite visual gags in the movie is at the beginning, everybody wins their ticket into this race by getting a golden little coin out of a slot machine, and they all do it in different ways. And Seth Green was taking money out of a change bucket for the homeless and using that money to gamble. That was really funny.
Oh yeah. And the whole like, okay, you're going to slip on this shot glass. You're going to fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
But by the way, I have to point out a question here. Did Gloria Allred pay to be in this film? Because there's going to be a whole ton of Gloria Allred in this.
And it was all advertisement for her too. I have actually spoken with, and we interviewed Gloria Allred on the radio show I used to be on, and very quick-witted when we spoke to her there. But yeah, it's just a very random, almost product placement for her law firm. It's strange.
But that's the funny thing. Like, not everyone is going to know Gloria Allred, and I get that at the time, of course, she is a massive name still in law. I get it. And I like the fact that she doesn't take herself too seriously in order to be able to be in a film like this.
Exactly. That's what I thought too, is like, you know what? Good for her. It shows that she's willing to like kind of poke fun at herself a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's also, anytime you're dealing with a comedy, you're going to have topical for its time gags. And then you go back and watch it later and you're like, oh, the hell is that?
Yeah, exactly. And that's definitely one of them. I did not know her the first few times I watched it, but of course now on this recent, I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense because I'm more familiar with her line of work. Also, what's Gloria Allred doing just strolling through a random casino in Vegas? That's another question.
Gloria Allred doesn't need to start ambulance chasing in Vegas.
I don't think she's at that level of her career yet. No, where she has to wait for someone to slip on a shot glass.
Yeah, it felt like a Sharknado level kind of cameo.
Yeah, just get her in. Get her in there somewhere. Put her in somewhere.
Whoopi Goldberg and Lene Chapman, who played Vera and Meryl. Your thoughts on these two?
Now we're on the funnier side. This subplot was really funny. Whoopi Goldberg kind of playing the absent mother, seeing her daughter for the first time in 27 years. Daughter's a workaholic, super, straight-laced, hard-nosed kind of thing. And they go on this whole adventure together. I thought they were very funny. They had the great bit with Kathy Bates and the squirrel lady.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I would find the squirrel lady very annoying if I didn't know people like that in New Brunswick. So I was like, I can't make fun of it too much because off the top of my head, I know 3 of these people. who also tries to kill them in the desert. But yeah, really funny. I love the bit where they were trying to get the rocket car, and the way they got around it was they snuck behind the driver talking to the news and were like Vanna Whiting the rocket car while slowly like trying to get into it. It was real. They were really funny. I loved these two.
The chemistry between the two of them is, I would say, arguably the best chemistry of any of the teams in this film.
Yeah, the part at the when they first meet up and they both order a mimosa and it makes the waitresses cry. I think that's very funny. They both want a mimosa. Like that's very funny.
And again, this is only because in rewatching this film, I was looking for things that the critics would have pointed to, saying, see that? It's a bad movie. So Whoopi listens to her psychic in order to be able to find her daughter, the daughter that she gave up to help her because the psychic told her that her daughter needs help. She's having trouble with money, etc., yada, 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 right? Not a problem, which explains why she would want to do this $2 million race as well. But if she's having problems with money, how the hell is she chartering a private jet to go to
she's
Silver
not
City?
having problems with money. That's the thing. She's super successful. So I think that's kind of one of the things that makes her character funnier, is because her daughter is so super numbers based. And the only reason she reached out to her estranged daughter after 27 years was because a psychic gave her a random tip.
Yeah.
And it wasn't right. It was incorrect. So I think that's actually a funny character trait, that like psychic's obviously full of crap because she sent you and like she's doing fine. Her company's about to go public. So I think that's actually really funny that she just follows like blind advice from mystics, and her daughter is this super successful business lady.
Okay, so in looking at it that way, I can definitely then overlook this and sit there and say, okay, so it's a gag on psychics, which actually does make it funnier.
And it's, I think, like I said, it speaks to Whoopi's exact opposite side of the coin to her daughter, because she's listening to like incorrect spiritual advice. And that's the only reason. That's like, that's the funny part to me, is like, yeah, after all this time, the only reason I reached out was that my, psychic told me you were in trouble. It's like, what about the other 27 years? She probably was in trouble at some point.
And like even during the car rental scene, it's like, ooh, tell me about the insurance. Ooh, tell me about this. What color is the car? And the daughter's like, no, we'll just take whatever you have. Like,
yeah,
I love that dynamic. These two were so much fun together.
Super fun. And on the rewatch now, I think I like them a lot more than I did when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, of course, I loved the Seth Green subplot because that's much fun, the John Lovitz one. But as an adult, I really, really enjoyed them a lot.
You mentioned him, John Lovitz, Kathy Najimy, Brody Smith, and Jillian Marie Hubert as the Pear family. Oh, John Lovitz goes through it in this one.
He is so effortlessly funny. I wish I had that talent. I wish I could just walk on a set and be given any 2 or 3 sentences put together and somehow make it hilarious. And then you pair him up with one of the witches from Hocus Pocus. Also incredible.
Also like, a movie that qualifies.
You're full of crap. Hocus Pocus is not. Hocus Pocus counts? Hocus Pocus qualifies for this movie? Or for this podcast?
Sitting at a 41% tomatometer, Hocus Pocus most definitely qualifies.
Dear listeners, if you're ever in the mood to listen to a Halloween podcast, look up the Hocus Pocus episode of this podcast, which will be coming out eventually, because that's nonsense. That movie is amazing. I will die on that hill. But she is also an integral part of why I find that movie so funny. I think she is the funniest Sanderson sister in that movie. And it's another one where I went back and watched it as an adult. I didn't connect those dots when you're younger, because you're not looking at the actors, you're only looking at the characters. So I completely forgot it was her until I went back to watch it for the podcast. And then once they enter, I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense as to why I loved this. And it was so funny as a kid. He goes through the craziest situations, I would say. John Lovitz gets the Hitler car. He does the gag where he gets his mouth burned and he has the unfortunate mustache and ends up at a World War II veterans event and seems to be impersonating Hitler. Like, it feels like they gave him all the ones where even they thought for the time could get them in trouble.
Oh, yeah. And the funny thing, too, with getting back to Kathy Najimy for a second, she's like the perfect Swiss Army knife. You put her in any film, as a support actor, and you're going to make everyone around her better.
Yeah, because she's so much like John Lovitz, effortlessly funny.
Mm-hmm.
The facial expressions, the way that she, like the voice and the cadence that she's so funny.
I think the only downside to this, and this is the reason why this is a downside to this, is because John Lovitz has made such iconic character work on Saturday Night Live, to the point like his mannerisms in this film, just like, you're just about to break out a "yeah, that's the ticket." It feels like a Saturday Night Live character.
It is, and he always seems in this so exasperated. Like, there's never a moment of peace. He always looks like he's about to have like an aneurysm of some kind.
Oh dear God! But yeah, no, like this is the one storyline where I think they're like, we're going to take every single thing that you're not supposed to laugh at, and we're going to make you laugh at it in a way that isn't actually offensive.
Yeah, and I think that's why they picked John Lovitz for it, because he's kind of the perfect person for that. He wouldn't be afraid to do something like this. Where some of them might shy away, John Lovitz was like, I'm in. I'm totally in. Like, right from the get-go, lying to his wife to go down to gamble. He was we're just here to see David Copperfield. Like, that's hilarious. And right from go, like you said, every situation they're in is the most like, oh my God, situation. Like, he drugs his family. Like, at one point in the movie. It's insane.
And then randomly piles this family into some stranger semi truck, because that's going to happen.
Yeah, to drive them to Silver City. The Hitler car. Drive through the Arizona desert now with a car that has a swastika on it. See how far you get,
right,
before you get Hills Have Eyes real quick.
But also, you're driving a top-down vehicle in the desert, and you're not dying.
Yeah, of heat or anything like that. And they put on Ava Braun's makeup and her glass. Like, it was, John Lovitz's character was saddled with the most difficult material content-wise, and he absolutely nailed it.
Because it puts it in a situation where it's like, okay, the way these jokes are written and these beats are written, it's not necessarily offensive, because all along you're like, yes, this idea is wrong, and we're going to laugh at it because it's wrong.
Yeah, that's why they're not making fun of anybody except for the Nazis, obviously, but nobody cares. But that's the thing. They're not doing it in a way where it's like making fun of what happened. They're making fun of these morons that have gotten themselves into this situation.
Absolutely.
Like, they go to the Barbie museum, but Barbie was one of Hitler's officers, and it's a museum dedicated to him. It's not Barbie the doll. That's hilarious. Like, it's not offensive, but it's difficult to do that. It's difficult to tread those waters. We talked about South Park earlier. They don't care. They go for everybody. They go for absolutely everyone, which is difficult in itself, but it's much harder to poke fun at those kinds of subjects and not make it offensive.
Yeah.
And they do it really well here, and not just with the John Lovitz character. There's a few different characters. The Rowan Atkinson one has a bit to that as well, with the hearts going to a child, or the hearts going to somebody, they're getting a heart donated, and they're messing around with this. That would be considered by some people to be a little bit risque, but they don't do it in a way that's making fun of that process. It's a situation kind of thing.
And the other thing too is, there are teams in this movie that you could not put in that situation. You couldn't take Seth Green and Vince Villa and have them have that beat. It wouldn't work.
No, that's what I mean. John Lovitz was the best man for the job. You couldn't put any of the other cast members in Hitler's car. Wouldn't have worked. But John Lovitz is just such a pro that it's perfect.
If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now at Chipotle, our all-new Chipotle Honey Chicken brings Chipotle heat with a touch of sweet. Seared smoked peppers and savory Mexican spices, blended with a hint of pure honey for a perfectly balanced sauce. All combined with fresh, tender chicken hot off the grill, served up in your favorite burrito or bowl. New Chipotle Honey Chicken takes heat and sweet to a whole new level. But it's only at Chipotle for a limited time. Order now in the app for pickup or delivery. Chipotle, for real.
Running a business comes with a lot of what ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Rowan Atkinson, who played Enrico Polini, so basically Italian Mr. Bean. Your thoughts?
It's Italian Mr. Bean. Of course it's funny.
Well, Italian-ish.
Yeah, Italian-ish, depending, and narcoleptic as well, which I thought was the great gag. The narcolepsy was a great twist thrown in there. It felt like they just took out a book and threw darts at the words like a dictionary, and whatever it hit on, oh, we got narcolepsy. We have to work that in somehow. Like the weird right angles people take are really entertaining. But given the fact that Mr. Bean is probably one of the best original characters created in comedy, I think, and that's not a hyperbole. Anybody that watched this show probably agrees with me. Just making it a different, like an Italian version of that, it's going to be just as funny, and it was.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking to make a slapstick comedy film and you're like, oh, Rowan Atkinson isn't busy, let's get him. That's a no-brainer move.
Yeah. He is the king in many ways of slapstick comedy. Like, especially for my generation. Like, I grew up watching Mr. Bean. The mini golf episode is still one of the fun. You can watch that any time of day. You're going to laugh. And this is basically Mr. Bean vignettes with Newman from Seinfeld sprinkled into the movie.
Oh, come on. The Christmas episode, cooking the turkey.
Yeah, the turkey's good. The mini golf episode is still, he goes all over town with that thing, and I just think that's great. It's so funny.
But there's a problem there too, right? Because you can sit there and go, oh, it's Mr. Bean, but with a different accent. Oh, it's John Lovitz doing basically like an SNL character. Is there a downside to bringing in someone and basically letting them be what they're known for every other character that they do?
Do you call a plumber and ask him to do carpentry?
Oh, well, they could be multi-talented.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm working on something that I know for a fact this person is incredible at, but we can't just say it's Mr. Bean in the casino race kind of thing, because then it's going to take on a whole life of its own. I don't think there's a problem with it in these ensemble situations. If you made an entire movie surrounding Mr. Bean or surrounding Rowan Atkinson's character in this movie and based it around him, and it was just a Mr. Bean movie with a different name, then I would have an issue.
Yeah.
But in this situation where it's several people doing kind of plying their trade a little bit, there'll be a couple that this guy's perfect for this. Throw him in. Like,
but I think that's also the thing too, as we were talking about with Blaine and Dwayne, because they originally offered it to Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, which it basically would have been Jay and Silent Bob. So it's almost like they're like, well, let's take these characters from this film and these characters from this film and put them all into this movie and let them go.
It's definitely playing off of your Avengers Endgame of slapstick comedy bit. That's kind of exactly true now that I think about it.
Yeah, this is basically a scripted Battle of the Network Stars kind of thing.
Yeah, of the time. And everybody is given kind of a script that's just in their wheelhouse. Who can out-funny each other. And again, this just plays to the fact, how did this movie rate so low? I still don't understand it.
I feel like I need to clarify something because some of our audience is younger than me. So, once upon a time, Battle of the Network Stars existed on networks like ABC, where they took all of their actors from all the different shows and put them into some little competition thing for fun as a way to promote their show. There.
Long ago, when the earth was new and dinosaurs roamed the planet.
Yes, and the only thing streaming was the water down the creek.
Oh my God.
Wayne Knight, who plays Zach, the organ delivery guy. You're gonna take that line, aren't you?
I'm definitely using that line.
Your thoughts on Wayne Knight?
I think he was good because I think he wasn't given Newman in an organ donor role, which is good. Because then it would have been a little bit too much if you just had Mr. Bean and Newman in a car. He is much different. He's a little bit more like jumpy. He's more scared and less confident of the people around him. like I said, one of the more what are they doing situations is him delivering the heart when he grabs onto the electric fence and it still starts beating, even though it's been like rolled around in the dirt and on the floor of a car. I think he was really funny, but unfortunately, he had to share the screen at most points with Rowan Atkinson, and them's the breaks, my friend. Like, you're not going to win that battle.
But to the same token as well, the two of them do work well together, especially that scene where they're like, we have to find a drifter. We have to find a drifter. And then Rowan Atkinson realizes what he's looking at. It's like, oh, also, Rowan Atkinson doesn't die when he jumps onto a speeding train that goes by.
Rowan Atkinson should have been dead like 2 or 3 times in this movie. Everybody should, though. That's what one of my notes was. Everyone in this movie should be dead by the end. There's so many car crashes that look so violent, and they just get out and run away. Like, especially when Whoopi Goldberg gets fired off the cliff by the squirrel woman.
Mm-hmm.
They hit, like, I know they obviously use, like, an empty car or whatever stunt people do. They hit the bottom very hard. The car crumpled in half, and they just get out and, like, stumble away.
Well, aside from the fact that they break Mach 1 with no safety gear whatsoever.
No helmet, nothing. Like, just totally fine.
Yeah, the skin is literally peeling off their face. One person who shouldn't have died in this film was Dave Thomas, who played Harold Grisham. Kind of a low-key role for him, but your thoughts?
Yeah, low-key is a good way to put it, I think. The more forgettable one of the group, I would say. Funny. Still funny. Everybody in this movie shines. There's a moment where everyone in this movie will make you laugh if you watch it, which is rare to see. But I think he was probably more of the understated of the group, I would say. There's not a lot of zaniness in his character.
I'm going to say something, and please don't take it like I'm dissing on Dave Thomas here, because Dave Thomas can really do no wrong. He really can't. But tell me that this role would have been perfect if it was John Larroquette.
Oh my God, it would have too.
Especially the hooker scene.
Yeah, especially the hooker scene. You're right. Basically, they went for the dry British humor, right? They were like, let's the straightest of straight men. I do like at the end when he breaks a little bit and it's like, no, I'm taking the money and I'm running away with her. That is funny. But that, I think, is where it would have been better suited for somebody else. When he's just the guy doing the Pepto-Bismol bath gig, that is good for him, for Dave Thomas. But somebody else at the end, once he breaks, it would have been nice to see him get a little crazier. Once he decides to break bad, he just kind of breaks out of it a little bit.
Yeah, because I mean, like a lot of these scenes, I'm sitting there like, and I'm getting major Dan Fielding vibes off of this role. And I also like John Larroquette when he was in Southland Tales. He kind of has that similar role in a very different film. But yeah, this is the kind of role where you want a seasoned comedy actor who knows when to put in just enough.
Yeah, which is what he's trying to do. He's like throttling the pedal a little bit because you're trying to keep that stern. I don't know what his official title is to John Cleese's character, like assistant, I guess, or fall guy. But it is. I love the concept at the end of him running away with the money or trying to. But I wish he would have gotten a little bit bigger once he decided to do that.
Of course, we cannot end the show without talking about Mr. John Cleese as Donald P. Sinclair. Your thoughts on him?
I'm eccentric. I can do what I please. I love that line. I love his character. I think it's because he's the head of this concept that I love so much. And he plays it very well. Crazy, billionaire American, like businessman trying to make a bunch of money off of other rich people. He's funny in everything he's in. What can you say? What can you say about him, right? But because he's such an integral part of a great concept that I make it happen in real life. FanDuel, you have so much money. Like, come on, screw Gronk kicking a kick at the Super Bowl. Give me like The Amazing Race with no rules.
But that's the interesting thing is that, and I'll get to that question in a little bit, but this film would work so well today. John Cleese, let's put a picture. Let's paint a picture. 2001 has this, but also has, and a much smaller role, if we're being honest, Nearly Headless Nick and Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. The following year, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Yeah, cool. Die Another Day as Q. He was great. And then The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
A steep and dramatic fall from all of those.
But the thing is, obviously, when you see John Cleese, your expectations are going to be at a Monty Python level kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the way to go. Because I'm looking at this guy and I'm thinking, the first thing in my mind is Basil Fawlty.
Yeah. Nope, that tracks. That does make sense. I do think this is the role that would be the most interchangeable of the movie. You could put a lot of people in this role. I think you could make it work. But this is maybe one of those times where they were like, we have such a loaded cast. Let's just keep piling in. This didn't have to be John Cleese because it is a very small role. You see him like 4 or 5 times. And the times that you see him, he is funny. Like when Rowan Atkinson's character falls asleep at the beginning of the race in the casino. And 2 of the millionaires are like, I just bet on this guy. I'm sorry, gentlemen. All the bets are locked in. Like he's just reminding them, you're stupid. But yeah, he doesn't get a whole lot to do until from the very beginning until the very end.
It's definitely a presence thing. You put John Cleese in anything and you're going to have that presence and the legacy of his body of work. Yeah. Could you have put anyone in there? Yes. But will they have the presence of John Cleese?
No, especially not. You get to a point in these ensemble casts when you have so many loaded names, you kind of can't afford to put a small name in there because as soon as you do, that character disappears, right?
Yeah.
Like once you get to like 7 or 8 A-list names, well, now everybody has to be A-list or else you're going to get lost, right? Like there's going to be, this character's going to fall flat unless it's a instantly recognizable face.
We were talking about it a little bit earlier. Given the nature of the gambling world today, is the time right for a rat race like film or TV series?
Yes. I've already written up the rules in preparation for this question because I'm like, there's ways people could cheat. Definitely. I don't think you should be able to use planes at all. No aircraft vehicles. You can't leave the ground. That's my one rule. You cannot leave the ground and enter the sky. And I don't want it to go like 5. No. You could get a season of television out of this. Make them go from California to New York. From LA to Times Square. The finish line's right outside Times Square. You make that an attraction in New York for a year or however long this takes. You put a big light thing up. Who's going to get here first? Live stream the finish line. Give people stands. You can sit there all day if you want to and wait. Maybe somebody shows up today and have the whole damn world bet on it. And do exactly what they did. Pick random crazy strangers, not celebrities. I don't want to see anybody that's got money. Make it a random draw. I want to see like a janitor from Wyoming, like a pediatrician from somewhere, like just random survivor like pickings of people. No script, no nothing. True reality. Give them the cameras. Let them go.
But I guess the problem there is that you couldn't bet on something real like that. I mean, yeah, I'm sure people bet on the Beast games. I'm sure they did. I'm sure people bet on Squid Game. I'm sure they did because people will bet on freaking anything. Right now, they're going to sit there and probably make bets on who our MVP is going to be at the end of all of this.
It's true. There's brackets out there. But I think I would rather put my money on something like that that's very wild and crazy. And a random person if it's proven it's 100% random and there's no exterior hands in the pot, I would feel more comfortable betting on something like that than I would on a fight where there's definitely involvement of outside forces sometimes swinging. Like, let's not mince words. Boxing has been rumored to be fixed forever. Like, there's people that were involved in it that say it was. How is this more crazy to bet on than that?
Well, people bet on wrestling, and the outcomes have been predetermined from that.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think it's more than fair game, and I would be so here for it. I would 100% be in on that.
But to the same token as well, and I kind of half jokingly talked about Battle of the Network Stars, but you take a look at the way that a lot of these streaming services are putting their stuff together, and Disney kind of did something similar to this, where they had a bunch of like their Disney stars and they had them on like the Disney World games or whatever. And they basically had them doing competitions at Disney World. Perfect corporate synergy. Why aren't studios like Netflix Studios or Amazon Prime Studios taking some of their stars that they kind of have under contract, if you will, and putting them in a scripted thing like this And it's got to be scripted, really. It's got to be scripted. And have fun with the idea of like Battle of the Netflix Stars or whatever, and have some fun with it.
See, yeah, that's the thing. To do it my way, it would probably end up just having a really heavy R rating. The family couldn't watch the version I'm talking about. Because if you let real people loose with the cameras and this, like, there would be some crazy stuff going on. But the Battle of the Network Stars thing, that would hold weight too, especially if you got a lot of people behind it that knew what would make for good television. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if you get one of the stars from Squid Game, Nick Kroll from Big Mouth, like insert
someone from Stranger Things.
Yeah, like exactly. Get one of the kids from Stranger Things. They're not kids anymore. I'm old. And just let them go and say, like I said, I want a longer one. I want it to go from like LA to New York. You got to go across America. And some pretty strict rules and a lot of money for charity on the line for the Battle of the Network Stars version.
But also to the same token as well, do things like The Amazing Race and Squid Game kind of take the novelty out of the idea.
They do, because Amazing Race is, it's scripted. Like, it's tightly wound. They're running through places that have been caged off for the television crews. Like, I want something that's a bit more real. I want, like, that's why my version, it's just regular people that have signed up on the website. You enter a random draw. You're prepared to do this. You're willing to take like 3 months off of work and carry a camera around with you and race across the country. Like, I want some more realism and less of the kind of, dramatic music. Which one's going to cross the finish line first? Even though the shot they show before the commercial break has all of them very close together. Like, it's not going to work like that. Like, I want to see kind of some more realism built into it.
I mean, there's a series on Disney Plus right now called The Quest, and it's basically like a kind of scripted, but also kind of real competition show where people are like in a castle, and it's very medieval themed and whatnot. There's only one season of it, but it kind of has that reality mixed with scripted kind of feel to it.
Yeah, I think the concept here is brilliant. That's the meat and potatoes of it. It's a concept you just don't see of much. Like, just, it's a race. You got to get from here to here. Winner gets this. Anything goes, go. I think one of the best scenes in the movie is the boardroom scene at the beginning, when John Cleese is like, first one there, gets it all. Go. And then they're all like, what do you mean? Go. I think that's really good writing, because that's how people would react. Like, that's the gun. Run. Somebody right there should have got up from the table and sprinted out the door. Because
it's the line of like, and currently Mr. Schaefer is winning because he is closest to the door.
Yeah, it's a race. It's a race. I'm winning.
For the record, too, and I need to point out, again, things that kind of, don't add up. Who the hell watched all the porno in Nick's hotel room?
I think it was definitely him. And he was trying to cover up for it.
Yeah. I mean, there are some jokes that don't pay off at the end, which is, it's hard to do with a film like this where you're going to throw a lot against the wall to see what sticks. But I think there's enough humor in here that if you're just looking for a brain vacation for an hour and a half, 2 hours, you cannot go wrong with this film.
No, it's one of the sunniest and most like relaxing brain vacations you can take. Just check your brain at the door. Like I said, every character in this movie has at least one bit that will make you laugh. There's none that show up on the screen and you're like, okay, now we're at this guy again. Like,
the funny thing too is, as we're talking about this, I remember there was a show, and it was kind of around this time as well. And I remember here in Canada, it played late at night on City TV. It was called Bonsai, and it was basically a British comedy show that was basically done like a Japanese game show, where people were like, oh, place bets now. And they would have like 5 people, and there's like shoes in front of them. It's like, all right, everyone's going to put their foot in the shoe, and who's got poo in the shoe? Place your bets now. Right. It was a hilarious show. And right now there are people sitting there going, Bonsai. They had a segment on the show called Mr. Shaky Hands Man. And he would basically be on the red carpet, and he would shake the hand of a celebrity on the red carpet. And you had to bet as to how long he could shake that hand.
See, I love that kind of stuff. That's the betting I support 110%. I absolutely love it.
Oh yeah, no, it's a very hilarious and wrong all at the same time British show. If you ever get a chance to get your hands on some copies of Bonsai. You're going to enjoy it.
And I think it's more fun because sports betting, you get upset about it. Sports betting invites more like anger at the numbers and stuff. It leads you down a not fun path. Whenever I bet on the Super Bowl, I do not bet on any sport related thing that happens in that game. Last year, I bet on what song was going to get played first for the halftime show, if a certain song was going to get sang, and the color of the Gatorade. That's the stuff that gets your heart going, because you're just like, it's random, it's nonsense, it's complete chance, and there's no like debauchery involved. That's the kind of betting I love a lot.
You're betting on Gatorade color, and you're saying there's no debauchery involved.
I don't think there's debauchery. They're drinking it the whole game, and then they dump it over.
Oh dear God. Yeah, anyone who doesn't bet on these things, they're like, people bet on Gatorade. Yes, they do.
I cannot stress this to any, because like, good for you if you've never heard of this kind of betting, because it's probably better for you. There's a reason we're called degenerates. But if you look it up, if it is of this person versus this person, whether it's just one person doing something, anything you could possibly imagine, somebody has put money on it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. You can find it.
All right. Well, we've come to the end of our show, which means all bets are locked in at this point. You cannot change your bet from this point on. Are you ready?
Yes.
Lyle, who is your MVP of Rat Race?
Of all the zany crap that happens, of all of the, the Hitler car, the hot air balloon chase that ends up with a cow in the sky, the I Love Lucy bus, the best part of this movie is Breckin Meyer. The straight man takes the cake this time. Like I said, if you would have made a movie just about him and her's relationship in relation to all of this and not focused as much on the other characters, they're the pairing that I think could carry an entire movie. They were really good together. They had some funny situations, but like you said, this was the overall kind of core driving part of the movie, and it's really what ties everything all together. I really love him walking out of the casino and being like, no, I gotta at least put something on the table to say I bet in Vegas. So he puts a quarter in the machine, and that's what kicks this whole thing off. Yeah, it's Breckin Meyer as Mike.
See, I tossed back and forth. And originally I had Breckin Meyer on my list, and I had Seth Green on my list. But the more we kind of talked about it, I'm like, no, you know what? Whoopi Goldberg and Lene Chapman, because this is the team that had the best chemistry throughout the entire film. Whoopi Goldberg is comedy gold.
It's Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. It's Guinan. You can't go wrong with Guinan. But the chemistry with Lene Chapman, they made each other funny as hell. And those beats, like whether Vanna Whiting with the land ship or whatever, and loved them. Thought they were great. A very underrated part. Played to Whoopi Goldberg's comedic strengths. Introduced us to Lene Chapman, because I'll be honest, I was not familiar with her work before this film.
Yeah.
And she killed it.
It's a smart choice. I don't think you could go wrong with most of the cast could be an MVP. They were on my short list for sure. John Lovitz was on my short list as well.
All right. So now that people have lost money listening to the show, Lyle, thank you so much. Remind our listeners what you're up to out there these days.
Producing for Anthem Sports Entertainment and TNA Wrestling, so make sure to tune in every Thursday night for Impact.
No betting on TNA Wrestling.
No betting on TNA Wrestling. No, not through any official channels. Cough, cough.
All right, Lyle, thanks so much for this. And to you, our dear listeners, whether you won money or not on the MVP, you guys know the drill. If there is a movie out there that you think is unfairly maligned, or there's no way in Silver City, New Mexico that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at NotThatBadcast, or go to our website at NotThatBadcast.com. And while you're there, no, you don't place bets, but you can buy some merch if you want to help support the show. Until next time, he's Lyle, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is It's Not That Bad, proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.